Welcome back to the table, and welcome to a 40K episode from the archive. You know, I go back and forth. And here we are going back in time to 30K era, the Horus Heresy. Obviously, we've been talking about that a lot, but I wanted to share this in it from the archive. I wanted to share all four together. This is the Horus Heresy, volumes 1 through 4 of the Visions art book stuff. These are the original art books for the Horus Heresy card game. Visions of War is Volume 1, Volume 2 is Visions of Darkness, Volume 3 is Visions of Treachery, and Volume 4 is Visions of Death. This right here, in my opinion, is the true start of the real pickup in the Horus Heresy fandom popularity. It's always been something for 40K enthusiasts as a bit of a myth and legend part of the setting that you always kind of look at and ponder and question and whatever little morsels that maybe be in certain codices or main rulebooks, we gobble it up, right? But at some point, and I don't know when it happened, Sabretooth Games partnered with GW to create the Horus Heresy card game. I never played it, never saw it played, never saw the cards. But it happened. I don't know when it started, I don't know when it concluded. But they did take all of that fantastic art, because with a card game, there's a lot of art. They took all that art and they broke it down to 4 books here, which is a collection of all of those card game art pieces. On top of that, they included John Blanche concept art in here as well, which is popular with a lot of people. And Alan Merritt, who's responsible, at least at this time, was responsible for a lot of the lore surrounding the setting of 40K universe in general and the Horus Heresy time period, contributed all the fluff and little mini story stuff in these books as well. So it's not just pictures upon pictures and that's it. It's also fluff and lore in these books. It was the full package for us back in the day. This told the whole story of the Horus Heresy. Obviously nowhere near in the detail and depth that the Black Library's overly bloated series is doing, but comparatively to what came before, it was night and day. We had virtually nothing, and then we had virtually everything, more or less, in our mind's eye when these came out. So with that said, they would eventually spark the Collected Visions book to come out, which is the collection of all 4 of these Vision books, hence Collected Visions. It is not as wide or as tall as these books, but it does contain everything in volumes 1 through 4, and I believe it also includes a couple of extra little narratives and some art to go with it. So we got a little bit extra with Collected Visions. Collected Visions, I do believe, is still for sale and totally worth picking up still. The current one has a color cover. I don't know if there's a difference in more content being in it or not. But anyways, we're focused on volumes 1 through 4 individually here. So, Visions of War, Visions of Darkness, Visions of Treachery, Visions of Death. 2004, more or less, is when these books came out. 2 years before the Black Library novel series started. I believe I got these in 2005, if I remember correctly-ish, 2005-ish time period or so. So I've had these for a while. Now, if you like this, just get the Collected Visions book. Finding these is going to be hard to do nowadays, and the price tag is going to be overpriced, more or less, more than likely. Anyways, they make reference to the original 1988 paragraph that was the Horus Heresy, stuff that was first told, and then they make reference to how that's been altered over time a bit and changed to where we're at currently with all the stuff in these books. So this was a massive amount of lore back in the day for the Horus Heresy. It's not just cool art, like I said, it's also lore. So I will be going through all 4 of them. I'm not going to go page by page, we'll be here all day, but this will get a little long-winded. So we get a little timeline, and then right off the bat we are greeted with basically the cover art here of the Emperor with whoever these silver, iron, and gold clad dudes are with the spiky helmets. I don't know. I still don't know. We'll probably never know. The best guess a lot of people have is some type of Custodes branch. But anyways, just some cool bit of art and beginnings of the lore and fluff and everything to read. And then we're hit with Custodes on Jet Bike, and we're hit with Sisters of Silence. And right off the bat, you can see that really it's this card game art that is the basis for everything in the Horus Heresy aesthetically these days. Not literally a one-to-one correlation. Some stuff was not really utilized and changed to some degree. Most stuff has subtle variances just for the ease of making it in model form. And then there are some stuff that's quite literally verbatim, it feels like. So here's the concept art I was talking about from John Blanche. We get, whenever you see something like this, it's John Blanche concept art basically. It's okay. It's cool to see the concept and then the final product on some things to see how close or different it might have been. And then we see the cards themselves, some examples right here. So remember, this is 2004. We have to put ourselves in our mind's eye back in time. We don't have the Horus Heresy series from Forge World at all. That Horus Heresy series is another like, 8 years off at least. So, or around there, thereabouts, 7 or 8 years off. And it's 2 years till the Black Library novelization starts. There's no model support at all. It's all standards 40K kits, and that's about it. So we had to do everything as skip bashing and converting back then. It was actually a lot of fun. It was a different type of fun. But this is what basically everybody based their Legion concepts off of, because this is all we had. We didn't have Unification era color schemes. We didn't have Unification era lore really. We just had this stuff, and it was glorious for its time. More concept art. But as you can see, this clearly, I feel, was done with massive approval and maybe a bit of actual mentorship from the IP owners, being GW and associated parties from GW. I say that because it's just too long-lasting of a thing to be the basis to be willy-nilly done. And just basically, I don't think Sabretooth Games was just given the permission to do so, and then GW went off and read a novel or something. I think they had a bit of their hand in it a little bit. But Sabretooth Games, fantastic art. Here we have Magnus the Red and Lehman Russ and all their 80s hair metal glory. Gotta love it. Concept art for Rogel Dorn. Concept art for Sanguinus. Then we have the Emperor and Horus. And as we go on, we get to see some really cool looking stuff. That's Constantine Valdar art. Obviously his art is not quite the same as his miniature, but definitely good inspiration. The Custodes are not as are crazy ornate, but not quite as ornate setup as the artwork, because miniatures have to be grounded in reality and not too crazy. But you can see the one-to-one correlation more or less from this to what we have from Forge World in art and bits, and then the Custodes faction in 40K. Definitely you can see inspiration there. Now, with that said, this is the series of books that really cemented my fandom and love for the Custodes, for the pre-Heresy Thousand Suns, and just further cemented my fandom and love for the Dark Angels that I already had. That's how I got into 40K. But just seeing all this stuff really cemented those three things. Now, all the legions are accounted for, some more so than others in the card game, admittedly, but that's the nature of the beast with card game art. So you do have art for all of the legions, you know, the 18, but while some are cool and some are kind of just alright, it was cool to see regardless. Even though I'm not a Space Wolf fan, it was just cool to see the art there. You know, I don't personally want to collect White Scars ever, but it's cool to see the White Scar stuff that is scattered throughout here. Same thing for the Salamanders and Iron Hands and so on. And it was cool to read all the fluff. So, yeah, just par for the course that way. This book is book one, sealed the deal for me for the Custodes, and it more than sealed the deal for me for the Thousand Suns in book one. Basically, those two factions became instant diehard fans of both of them. And I will show you the two pictures, if you will. There's concept art from Mortarion, not too far off from what we got. There was concept art for Fulgrim in here, which was quite different than Davenite Lodge stuff and what have you. Decently different from how he truly is. It's worth showcasing. But anyways, we'll get there. Cool Custodes Terminators, further slim the deal that way. But this Assault Squad picture really helped seal the deal for the Thousand Sons, because that's when I started seeing truly that the Khopesh aesthetic and the Pseudo-Egyptian aesthetics that I saw on the little chopped box piece earlier that I skipped over of just Armin wasn't just for a special character, but this is a squad, and we can see it in the Khopesh and the aesthetic and everything in squad form. So that really got me excited. There's Angron's concept art. There it is. Look at Fulgrim. Quite different from concept to reality, right? Got some type of weird hood thing on there. And yeah, just you can see some similarities and where they got certain things from, but yeah, that's quite the concept. There's Sol Tarbit's Hero of Heroes. So that, anyways, that Assault Marine squad for the Thousand Sons really helped seal the deal. And then, I mean, this guy is really cool too, but if we get to it, where is it at? There it is. This picture. This was a knockdown, drag out picture that made me become an instant fan and follow the pre-Year 2000 Sun stuff and collect all imagery that I could off the internet and whatnot for these guys, because this was just too cool. And what's neat, we see John Blanche concept art for the Thousand Sons, and it's always had that pseudo-Egyptian aesthetic. It's a real shame that they became real generic, chaosy feeling sorcerer dudes post-Heresy. Anyways, cool art in here. I know I skipped over a fair amount because there's just so much to cover, and there's 3 more books to go, 3 more volumes to go. So, Volume 2, Visions of Darkness, fantastic. We see again, we are greeted by that timeline, and we are greeted by basically the cover art in more detail there. Now this Horus picture, and there are other Horus pieces of art, but when you look at the model we have for Horus, it's pretty dang close to the art we always see for Horus. So they did a real good job with both that model and the artwork to be basically the inspiration for them to go, yeah, not much to change at all here. So that's pretty cool. Also on the back of these books, we did have little individual messages that are different for each. But that's neither here nor there. So we are greeted by more awesome art and lore. We also have in this book, we are honored to have Darth Maul grace our presence as a squad of Darth Maul in this book. We also get some Imperial Army stuff. Now, I'll use this as a time to do another little tangent. With the Imperial Army, you get a lot of Cadian-esque and Catachan-esque and Vostrian-esque and Valhallan-esque looking stuff because, well, it's the Imperial Army. It's not going to be that crazily different to what is post-Heresy, and there's no Solar Auxilia concept at the time here. But still not bad for concept art and what have you. But my point is, it doesn't kill the vibe. There's also some Space Marine stuff that looks a little bit too post-Heresy in terms of the Terminator look or their armor being a little too Mark 7 looking. But it's art, and it's not meant to be what you should, pound for pound use as 100% inspiration. And there's more than plenty of quote-unquote correct things done. So I just wanted to do that as a random tangent. We are approaching Darth Maul though. Get ready. So here we have Mechanicum. I believe this is Dark Mechanica stuff since we have Dark Mechanica's lore. And we're starting to see like really chaosified Traitor Marines. So that's pretty cool. And we're gonna see that with Darth Maul. There he is. There is the squad of Darth Maul. It is a Sons of Horus squad. So basically, growing pains of how to do demonic stuff. But there it is. Not bad at all. Now, in book 1, we had the Vengeful Spirit in art, Horus's flagship. The ships are cool, but I mean, they're ships. We don't really do much with them. If Battlefleet Gothic was still around and if they had a Horus Heresy version of it, then it would be cool, a bit cooler, but we don't. Here we start seeing some Space Wolf shenanigans, taking out Thousand Sun stuff, which is fine. We know what happened in Prospero, so we're kind of looking at that happening here. We are looking at some Custode stuff and Sisters of Silence because they were present as well. And then we have it, mashed up with other stuff like Emperor's Children and Ultramarines and whatever else. The Talons of the Emperor right here. And they really have a lot of Sisters of Silence, by the way, dedicated style of units that, if they really draw on its inspiration, could make them Codex worthy. Anyways, cool Cataphractii style Terminators there. More demon guys. And eventually we get to, more awesome Thousand Sun stuff, but that's not what we get to. We get to the Blood Angels and their whole betrayal by Horus on the demon world. So we get that cover both in art and fluff here as well. And that's just great if you're a Blood Angels fan for sure. But we get to see Chaos stuff more so in Volume 2. And Traders not really hiding it anymore. So it starts really ramping up in terms of covering the Horus Heresy. And a lot of concept art. Volume 3, Visions of Treachery, it's just more of the same formula. Art, concept art, and lore. But here is where we start getting a glimpse and get our first glimpses proper of the Dark Angels. So I'm just going to eventually get right to that. If I can find it, it's kind of difficult to find it. There we go. So that Assault Marine squad just looks awesome. And I'm pointing these guys out because the Dark Angels are one of the legions that don't get as much art as the other legions do. There's another one right there, looking really cool. So I wanted to point them out. Plus, a big fan of them. That's why I'm pointing them out too. And even though Estellon is a dirty traitor fallen, he's got a really cool piece of art right here. So nice Dark Angel aesthetic for sure. That really helped for me in terms of just stuff looking cool for the Dark Angels pre-Heresy. So it took book 3 for me to get to see my Dark Angels, which just further cemented my fandom there. But we also have some Salamanders, which are a rarity as well. Alpha Legion, a bit of a rarity. And we also have the Red Angel here, not Angron, but a captured Blood Angel being tortured and used for some reasoning. And next to him is a blue armored Araman. So at what point that they become the blue armored versions that we know post-Heresy, nowadays I'm not rightly sure. So this art may not be quote-unquote canon valid anymore, but it's still cool art, so I don't really care. Anyways, massive tanks, more Custodes, you name it, it's all Horus Heresy here. So we have a Navigator as well. That's neat. More Mechanicum stuff. And some things in regards to Wordbearer squads. And here, you think you're looking at Ultramarines, but you're looking at Alpha Legion. So there you go. And a Titan, a Chaos Titan as you'd expect it to look, a Warhound. So just cool art across the board. And we're really kind of amping things up, getting towards the climax of the Horus Heresy. Again, the art, especially for the Chaos Tradery stuff, is more spaced out to kind of represent us getting to the end of the Heresy and everything being fully chaosified, that's chaos. But also art is kind of just thrown around a little bit. So book 4 follows the same formula yet again, however, full on. Here we see the Imperial Webway project, because that was the thing as well. The Custodes are in there. We see Slaanesh. We see the Sisters of Silence. Not Slaanesh, the Chaos God itself, but demon-wise. We got Tzeentch demons. We got all the demons. We got Demon Prince Fulgrim. Here we have Perturbo with the really angry hammer. And basically, it's just more of par for the course. We got even angrier Horus. And we have a Emperor's Children ship. There's a decent amount of naval stuff in book 4. And we get to see that some of the Primarchs in their Demon Primarch form, which is pretty cool. Nathaniel Garreau as a Knight Errant. Sanguinus being mad and cool. We're basically at the Siege of Terra and the whole climax and ending of the Horus Heresy proper. We have the Emperor on his golden throne. More demons. And Titans and what have you. So, this is great. This is the Eternity Gate, by the way. There you go. This is all well and good, but what they add for us too, which I thought was kind of neat, is at the end of all this, we see the actual cards. Basically, I believe it's all of the cards laid out for us. And there's a good amount of them. So, that I thought was just a neat little touch. It wasn't necessary because we have all this art, but just if you were really curious to learn and see, like, oh, I remember that piece of art, it's this card or whatever. Kind of neat. So, with the conclusion, we have the Emperor entering the Golden Throne, and all that jazz. And basically, Horus Heresy from start to finish, covered with art, lore, and concept art. And here's Demon Prince Angron because Angron's angry. Anyways, fantastic books. The volumes 1 through 4, and of course, if you are so interested yourself to have cool Horus Heresy art, which mind you is from the Horus Heresy card game, you can just pick up Collective Visions for yourself and you'll have it all, and some extras. Definitely a worthwhile purchase, and I think it's really cool that the art was done so well, and I think taken in such high regard by the company, that it serves, and you can clearly tell it serves as the blueprints, if you will, for what Forge World has given us, and even GW has given us in some box games and in kits and what have you, both for generic squads as well as special units and squads and the Primarchs even. Now, not absolutely everything gets covered by the Horus Heresy card game art. There's I believe one like concept art card piece for Alfarius. It's a card, but I think it's just concept art used for it for Alfarius. Doesn't look anything like the model we got for him, and that's fine. But my point is, it's not like the card game is literally now made in miniature form for us with all those models, but we can see how big of an impact this had, and that's pretty cool because, I don't think it would have naturally had that amount of impact if GW didn't have their hands in it as much as they seem to have had it, nor if the art was kind of lackluster. So, good job all around. Anyways, big fan of these. I've thumbed through these 4 a lot, thumbed through the Collective Visions a lot. Don't waste your time trying to find the 4. They'll probably be price jacked up for no reason. Just get yourself a Collective Visions book. It's the same deal. See? This is the Kaban project. This is one of the things added that wasn't in the collected, that wasn't in the 4 volumes. But other than that, the art is the same, the lore is the same. So you're not missing out on anything. In fact, you're gaining stuff. So that's cool. Anyways, thanks very much for sticking through this long-winded one. It was just worth it. I want to do all 4 at once. They're kind of special and deserve it. So cool books all around. I got these as they basically came out, more or like the year after they came out, before there was a Collective Visions book. Then when there's a Collective Visions book, I said, all right, I'll get that too. Why not? I'm a sucker for cool art like this. So anyways, have you played the card game? As I hit the camera, it's kind of a tradition to hit the camera in some of my videos. So have you played the card game at all? Do you own any of the cards? Do you own any of these art books itself, whatever the case is? Let me know. I'm curious whoever actually played the card game. I didn't. I was basically a Magic Gathering only, and I never saw the cards even for sale where I bought cards, so for Magic and whatnot. So I was surprised when I stumbled across this on the interwebs 15 years ago, because I was like, wait, what is this? What do you mean a card game? So yeah, if anybody's actually played it, share it in the comment section. Was it good? Or was it one of those kind of like niche style of games? It seemed to involve dice, which it always feels a little sketchy to me. Anyways, that's it. Tangent over. And until the next one, take it easy.